to other European countries, but we got just £50 million back. Now, part of that money went towards payments on European health insurance cards, but the vast bulk of it went to pay other countries for the healthcare costs of British pensioners who are living abroad. So why is it that we paid out so much and got so little back? Last year, a third of that money, £250 million, was sent to pay for the healthcare of people living here, in Ireland. These are people who have worked all of their lives in the UK, are now eligible for a British state pension and have come back here to retire. The UK government picks up the tab for their healthcare. People like Maureen and her partner, Andy. What difference does it make to you that the UK government will pay for your healthcare here?
Oh, a great deal. We wouldn't be able to live here 5 minutes.
We couldn't be here, and a lot of the return to Ireland people and people that have just moved over to Ireland for a quieter life, they wouldn't be able to stay.
Quite a few lads.
Many in Ireland have to pay for their healthcare, but not Andy and Maureen.
Because we was in England for 52 years, you paid your contributions and you're entitled to that as if you were still in England. And the bill is taken up by the British government pays our bills.
So for you, this is like having an NHS in Ireland?
Yes, it is. It is really the same thing. I mean, people used to talk about the National Health Service in the UK, but you believe me, it is the finest system in the world.
Andy and Maureen are far from alone. In fact, the NHS pays for the healthcare of more than 40,000 British pensioners living here. But for some reason, Ireland charges the NHS nearly £6,000 a year per pensioner, which is almost 50% more than the UK charges other countries to look after their pensioners. So why are we paying Ireland so much more? So it just is more expensive?
It is
here?
more expensive, but taking that all together, it doesn't seem to me that it would explain the full amount of that difference by some margin.
Because we're talking about 50% more here, aren't we?
I mean, I think if you were trying to do the calculations as carefully as possible, the chances are that the result would be perhaps 25 or even perhaps 30% more expensive than the equivalent care for this population would be in the UK.
So do you believe it's likely then that the UK is paying over the odds, maybe significantly over the odds for this?
I think it probably is paying quite a lot more than the costs would justify, yes.
PANORAMA has calculated that if Professor Norman's right, then the NHS has overpaid Ireland by £125 million in the last 3 years. The Irish government dispute that figure. They say that average healthcare costs vary from country to country, but in any case, UK payments in recent years are based on estimates yet to be finalised. Therefore, they said it was not possible to say whether the UK has overpaid. In opposition, the Conservatives promised an inquiry into the UK's overpayments to Ireland, but that was 3 years ago. Are we paying the Republic of Ireland too much to look after UK pensioners living there?
There's a huge problem with what's happening over in Ireland, and that's why we're working with the Irish government, because we recognise that it's an awful lot of money effectively that we are paying back to the Irish government quite properly under the existing rules, but they're very, very old rules, and both governments accept we need to sort it out so that it's not at the levels that it currently is.
Back in Birmingham, the NHS practice manager, Asif, has been busy. He seems very keen to meet our undercover man again. It turns out he's already registered 5 fictitious Indian health tourists into the NHS, even though we haven't paid him yet. The numbers are on this sheet of paper.
Are these the numbers for the 5?
It is a 5.
Okay, great. This again. This is what I needed.
It's an expensive piece of paper. Asif is expecting £5,000 for it. With a fond farewell, Asif reminds us he's eager to register another 5 health tourists on the NHS.
You said you were 10. Get the other 5.
I'll get the other. I didn't want to overwhelm you. Can we start doing this?
Now I know that it can be done.
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm you, so I said, let's get this sorted out. When I come down with the 5, I'll give you the next 5. Do you get it?
No problem.
All right,
See you
thanks.
later.
Thanks very much.
But there won't be any more health tourists registered on the NHS through Asif Butt, and he isn't going to see his big payday. Instead, on the morning he comes to collect his money, he's going to meet me and my camera crew.
Hello, Dick Malone, BBC Panorama. Can I ask why you've been selling access to the NHS?
Access? Why not?
These people, do you recognise this? These people don't exist.
No, I don't know.
These people don't exist. You've been abusing your position.
I haven't took
haven't you?
anything. I'm sorry.
Mr. Butt, have you been abusing your position?
I have not done anything.
Do you think you've been abusing your position as
No.
an NHS manager?
No.
Mr. Butt, how much money have you made out of doing this?
I haven't done anything.
How many people are in the NHS because of you? Today he's a man of few words. He wasn't quite as reticent with our undercover reporter. And though he denies it, there's no doubt these people are in the NHS because of him, and they don't exist.
We told Mr. Butt's employers, Sparkbrook Health Centre, about his activities, and they said, "We have launched an immediate investigation into the allegations made against Mr. Butt in conjunction with our local counter-fraud team and will take appropriate action when all the facts are known." We asked the Southall middlemen Ayub and Chamanlal about their activities. They didn't respond. Femi has declined to comment other than saying the allegations are false.
The NHS was never designed to charge people. So, as we found out, the systems it has in place for working out who's eligible for free treatment and who should pay are just not effective.
Over the last 6 months, we've registered 8 health tourists with GPs, and we've had free treatment we should have paid for at hospitals across the country. No one has been caught.
We will be reimbursing the NHS for all of these costs. But in a world where people can travel ever more easily to Britain, we have to decide who has the right to use the NHS for free and who doesn't.